Hey internet friends, the polls are in and shepherd's pie won. It wasn't by a lot, just barely made it, but it won. So we're gonna make shepherd's pie today. For everyone that wanted Italian beef, don't worry, I'll be making it next week because you guys contributed so much. I loved every minute of it. I love everyone. Thank you so much for voting. It made my life so much easier. Let's get right to the delicious shepherd's pie.
You guys know the drill by now. Go ahead and screenshot this and let's get started. First step is you want to go ahead and wash all your taters. They've been buried in the ground, they need to be cleaned. And then after you wash your taters, it's time to peel them. Grab your favorite potato peeler, grab a bowl, and just go to town. It's really hard to screw up peeling potatoes, but just make sure you don't cut yourself with the peeler. Now we cut up our potatoes. The smaller pieces will make it easier to boil. Faster boiling time means faster food. Look at those beautiful potatoes. Look at them, they're just so perfect. Now take your beautiful potatoes and pour them into a pot for boiling. Fill your beautiful pot with cold water until the potatoes are completely submerged, then throw them on the stove for some boiling. While your taters are cooking, now is the perfect time to finely mince an onion. We've done this a million times on the show before, guys, so just go ahead and cut it up into really fine pieces. Heat up a skillet with your favorite oil and give it a swirl so that it's all around, and then add the onions so we can begin sweating these bad boys. Go ahead and give them a mix, just like that. Once your onions become fragrant, feel free to add your ground meat to the party. I made this with beef. It's normally made with lamb, but I couldn't find lamb. While your beef is browning, now's the best time to add all your seasonings like your parsley, your basil, and your garlic powder, and your oregano. It's really important to add these seasonings now because it'll get all the flavors and everything in the beef. After you've browned a bit more, you can add a cup and a half to almost 2 cups of flour, depending on how much meat you have. Then go ahead and give that a nice good mix so that everybody's friends at the party. All these flavors can mix it up and mingle and have a good time. Make sure that they're all friends. And now we can add half a cup to a cup of beef stock. And then we want to add a half a cup of Worcestershire sauce. Just like that. And then we want to add, this is completely optional. If you have it, you have it. If you don't worry about it. But a splash of Irish whiskey. It'll add some flavor and some sweetness to it, but it'll make it delicious. And now we add the bag of mixed vegetables. You could do frozen or fresh. If you do frozen, make sure that while you're cooking the rest of the meat, cooking it down, you want to cover it because it'll make sure that the vegetables get steamed all the way through and they actually cook properly. Because if your vegetables are undercooked, they'll be a little bit crunchy and it'll add a strange texture to your beautiful, delicious shepherd's pie. And now we're going to add the quintessential final ingredient that will add some nostalgia to your dish, and that is a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon. I was told this by a very nice older Irish woman who said the best way to make your shepherd's pie taste like home is with cinnamon in the beef. It's a great idea. Go ahead and mix that all together, and you will not regret this decision later. Once all your ingredients are cooked through, you can go ahead and put this onto a simmer while we deal with the potatoes. Go ahead and give it another stir just to make sure that everybody's friends. But yeah, you can cover it up and throw it on the stove and let it simmer. And it'll get kind of thick. Now your potatoes should be cooked thoroughly and nice and soft. You want to drain the potatoes and then check to make sure how soft they are with a fork, just by poking one. I forgot to film my draining, but use a colander or a spoon or whatever method you guys use to drain your potatoes. And now we're going to mash our potatoes. The easiest way for me to do this was to add 2 tablespoons of butter. I failed using the hand masher, so I grabbed the hand mixer, and I started to mix it all around. And there's so many different ways to make mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are super easy to not screw up. You could add some milk or some cream if you want them more creamy. I didn't really add that much. I actually added a lot of cheddar cheese, a lot of sharp cheddar cheese. And I even added some garlic powder and salt and pepper. As you can see, I'm about to add the garlic powder right now. And it's really just, you just mix it up. Having a hand mixer makes it a lot easier, but you can do it by hand with the masher. But mashed potatoes are super simple. Now that everything's done, let's go ahead and add it to our baking dish. You want to spread the meat out first on the bottom. Make sure you spread it to all edges and corners. Kind of spread it very generously. You want a nice meaty shepherd's pie. Just go ahead and spread it around and make sure it's even, make sure it's flat. And if you have a little leftover, that's okay. It still tastes delicious. You want to just make sure you get as much as you can in there and make sure it's as even as possible. Then you want to go ahead and start with your mashed potatoes. You want to just dump it right on top. You want to keep it kind of, don't let it mix together, just keep it on top layer. And you want to spread it all evenly. You want to make sure that you got a nice even layer all the way across. And if you feel like you don't have enough potatoes for this, just make more mashed potatoes. Not a big deal. But usually the best method is about, depending on how many people and how big your baking dish is usually about like 1 or 2 potatoes per person. It's usually the best method to go with. So if you have a big baking dish, you want to go with more mashed potatoes because you want to cover it completely. I have a small little pie pan. That's about all you need. Now go ahead and add some cheese. Just like that. For Instagram, you want to make it super pretty, make it look amazing. For pictures, you want all your friends to know that you made a delicious shepherd's pie and they did not. That's the most important part, is the Instagram and the pictures. I'm just kidding. It's just some more depth of flavor with the cheese on top. It makes it taste so much better when you get that melty, cheesy goodness right as the first bite. And then you want to take this and put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until the mashed potatoes and the cheese on top are bubbling. While it's in the oven, this is the perfect time to chug a beer. And while I'm chugging a beer, I would like to thank you guys once again for participating in the vote. It means so much to me. I'm so glad I have so many loyal fans. I love you guys. Cheers. Thank you so much. After about 25 minutes, your pie should look something like this. And you're almost ready to eat it. Add some parsley on top for a little bit of a color difference. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Now let's get ready to eat this bad boy.
Well, that looks good. Let's see how it tastes. It's all these different beautiful colors. The veggies and the meat and the cheese and the potatoes. It is beautiful. It is so good. It is exactly what you think it is supposed to be. It is comfort food. Creamy potatoes with the savory of the beef or the lamb, with the onion and all those fresh flavors of like the basil and the parsley. It's like old school delicious. Like this is something that, like, if you went to your grandma's house and she's like, I only have shepherd's pie, like that's the best thing ever. It tastes like something you eat in childhood that it's so hard to recreate as an adult. It just tastes like nostalgia, just like pure, beautiful nostalgia. I highly recommend it. Gee, wasn't that delicious? Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I'm sure some of the videos will be around here somewhere. And don't forget to hit that bell button. Cheers.